What's going on, guys? It is me, Lone, here with a Fallout 4 news update. But before I get into it, two things. One, the picture that I used in my thumbnail has come from a mod called Santa Claus Power Armor. The link is in the description below. I want to give the mod author full credit, and it's a pretty cool looking mod, which is why I used it in my thumbnail, and I needed a red thumbnail for today's video. Don't ask, I'm pretty sure I have OCD. And the second thing, check the description again for a link to Good Vibes' Twitch. Her name is Molly. She's an awesome Fallout streamer. She also streams anything Bethesda like Elder Scrolls, and she's almost at 2,500 followers on Twitch. So let's get her there and tell her I sent you as well. Alrighty, so today we're talking about Fallout 4 console mods, and yes, it's almost time. I know I've probably made like 5 videos saying that console mods are coming soon, but they really are coming soon. Another link in the description below to a GameSpot article, but also BGS tweeted it out so you can go to their Twitter. But they've announced that their next beta for Fallout 4 will be for mods on the Xbox One. It'll be a closed beta and you're going to have to sign up for it, but that means that console mods will be coming out specifically after Far Harbor for Fallout 4 on Xbox One, and I believe it's still a month later from when they come out on Xbox One for PS4. I'm not too sure, but eventually they will come to PS4 as well. So fingers crossed, if one of you signs up and actually gets access to the closed beta, I'm sure everyone's going to be very jealous of you, just like the people that are playing Far Harbor right now. But what I really want this video to be about is about console mods in general for Fallout 4, and what can we expect to see on the console, especially in comparison to what's available currently for Fallout 4 on the PC. Essentially on the PC with Fallout 4 and Skyrim as well, there really are no limitations. There are so many different mods that exist out there, so many different third-party plugins that you can use as well for the game, such as for E&Bs and whatnot, and for reshaders. There are so many things that you can do, and that's why there are so many awesome mods out there for PC. But for console, it's not going to be quite the case. I'm not saying that console modding is going to be shit by any means at all. I think it's going to be awesome. I think people on the consoles are really going to be enjoying these mods that PC players have been enjoying for many years now. But I just want to temper those expectations slightly and give my opinion as to the mods, or the kinds of mods that we will be seeing on the consoles, such as Xbox One and PS4 for Fallout 4. So my general comment is this: it's safe to say that the vast majority of mods that are currently out there for Fallout 4 and that will be coming to Fallout 4 in the future will be available on console. There are only really two things that are going to be holding back Fallout 4 console modding, and that is 1, Bethesda's content moderation, and 2, hardware limitations. There might be other limitations, but for me, these are the two biggest things that I can think of that are really gonna, I guess, reduce the number or temper the number of console mods that are gonna be available for Fallout 4. So first, let's touch on Bethesda's content moderation, because this is relatively easy and we can get out of the way. And Todd Howard has actually commented on this in the past. So console mods for Fallout 4 will be censored to the extent, firstly, that they contain copyrighted content. So for example, there's a Buzz Lightyear Power Armor mod out for Fallout 4 on the Nexus. That wouldn't be allowed on the console. And neither will other mods that are based or premised on other kinds of video games. So another example would be, there was a Legend of Zelda sword, I believe there was, on the Nexus. That wouldn't be available for Fallout 4 on consoles either. And the reason is simple: Bethesda doesn't want to get into any legal trouble. The fact that they are officially supporting mods and allowing people to access them very easily via the in-game menu, they need to ensure that what's being released doesn't infringe copyright, doesn't infringe trademark, doesn't infringe intellectual property law. That doesn't exist on the PC for Nexus, for example, because technically that's modding that's actually not officially supported by Bethesda, and it's really out of Bethesda's hands. It's different for Steam Workshop and will be different for console modding as well. And on that note as well, there's going to be no nudity mods, no porn, and probably no crazy violent mods or anything like that. And the reason for this is also quite legalistic as well. The fact is that Fallout 4 has a classification in all countries that it's been released in. So in Australia, for example, the game comes with an MA15+ rating. Bethesda can't be allowing the easy access of mods that involve porn or that involve nudity, because that's going to bump the game up to an R18 and maybe even a restricted classification in a lot of countries. For example, if there are mods that just show straight up sex scenes, that would actually be banned in Australia probably, and I'm assuming a lot of other countries as well. So Bethesda needs to bear that in mind when it's allowing these mods to be distributed via the in-game menu on the consoles. So that's the first kind of category of mods that won't be seen on Xbox Xbox One or PS4 for Fallout 4. And the second limitation that I've noted here for Fallout 4 console modding is hardware limitations. The fact is that the consoles just aren't as strong as PCs can potentially be. And a lot of these modders that are creating mods typically have great PCs, or they're not necessarily thinking about, all right, I need to make sure this mod can be playable on all systems. A lot of mods do that, but the point that I'm trying to make is that because PS4s and because Xbox Ones are closed boxes, and relatively their frame rates, even without mods or anything else installed, are for the most part at 30 FPS, any mods that are going to jeopardize that, while they may be released onto the consoles, they're probably going to make the game unplayable. And that's another limitation that I'll note. Any mods that essentially make the game unplayable, such as through frame rate, you might see it in the in-game menu, they might be able to be downloaded, but they're going to make your game unplayable, so there's no point in using them. They're not practically beneficial to you anyways, and I can easily see some mod authors just not releasing those mods on console because they're just not going to run correctly. And on the closed box note as well, a lot of mods that require third-party plugins, such as ENBs and such as shaders, and specifically I mean those reshader mods that use the reshade framework that you have to download externally. We're not going to be seeing those kinds of mods. Again, we're not going to be seeing mods that really tax the frame rate. To give further examples, texture replaces that really tax the frame rate. Of course, ENBs, as I just said. Some of these weather mods, which are really taxing, especially when they're pouring down rain, for example, a lot of them might make the game practically unplayable on the consoles, so they're not going to be much use to you. So effectively, there are a lot of mods out there that even on really good PCs will tax the frame rate, and because consoles already have a very limited frame rate at 30, and I reviewed Fallout 4 on the Xbox One, so I know this is true, those kinds of mods, you might be able to install one or two maybe, and the game could be somewhat playable. But for the most part, there's probably no practical benefit for you to actually install and try those mods. But of course, it's going to be a lot of experimentation, and who knows, you might get some texture replaces or some ENB-esque mods out there, such as brightness or contrast changes. Those kinds of tweaking mods will probably be fully workable on the consoles, but it's going to be a bit of a give and take in experimentation. However, there are a lot of texture optimization mods that actually make the game run better and have the textures looking relatively the same. So I'm assuming we're going to be seeing a lot of those on the consoles, and who knows, we might actually get better frame rates for Fallout 4 on the consoles, but we'll definitely get item mods, weapon mods, armor mods, things like that. Those act like any DLC would, so there's no reason for me to believe that those won't be available as console mods, as would new quest mods, especially with the creation kit being released soon, or maybe it is released in closed beta or a beta of some sort. But nevertheless, those quest mods, when they're released on PC, I don't see any reason why they can't be released on Xbox One and PS4 as well, because again, they're just going to operate like a DLC would. Like with Far Harbor, you install it and play it, it's essentially just a massive quest, so we will be seeing quest mods for consoles. But for the most part, those are the main things that I wanted to address. I'm sure there's many other things that I've missed, and I would like this video to kind of be a one-stop shop for that kind of news. So please put your thoughts in the comments below as to the other mods that we won't see on consoles or that won't be practically usable on consoles. If I've gotten anything wrong in this video, please let me know in the comments below, especially so those comments are upvoted a lot, so people are actually aware of the most accurate information out there. Anyways, Sanders, that's all from me. This has been Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourself, and as always, keep fighting the good fight.